everybody. Welcome to Chapter Baby J podcast. I am your host, Darshell Annette, and I truly thank you for joining me today on the last podcast of February. So, I know some of you are probably wondering, why has she not been posting about Black history? Well, I'm going to tell you today. So, I actually kind of was thinking about it when I first started, or the first of the month came around. I actually was talking to my daughter, and I had a plan to do certain posts every day for Black history. And then I felt kind of like, I don't know, uneasy about it. And so I decided not to do it. I'm not going to share my thoughts because I don't want nobody to be like, well, you should have did this and all that. Duh. So I wanted to actually talk about why I felt a little inadequate about sharing Black history information altogether. So I grew up in a household. I have 8 brothers and sisters. For those that don't know, I have 8 brothers and sisters. So I have an older brother and older sister that did not live in the house with us. But then I'm the oldest of my parents' children, and there is 7 of us. So all of us were in the household together, and it was a small household for that many people. We had 3 bedrooms, 1 bathroom. Imagine that. 1 bedroom obviously was for my parents, the other for the girls, which it was 5 girls in the house, and 2 boys. They had the other room and 1 bathroom. So interesting times to say the least. So growing up, we actually I can't talk for my other brothers and sisters. I didn't feel that we had a whole bunch of Black history necessarily thrown at us. And I think a lot of that, one, has to do with amount of people that was around. My parents were really big on education. If we got a C, there was a problem. Like, everything was taken away. Whatever privileges you had, whatever sports you were playing, any extracurricular activities that they allowed us to do at that point in time, because we grew up in the church. So church was your life, and that was it. But that's a whole nother podcast. But anything that you did outside of and I'm in a rocking chair, obviously, y'all. I wanted to change my scenery. My daughter said that I need to get some different looks. So hopefully y'all enjoy this. But back to the topic. So we actually didn't get to spend a lot of time on, even though education was pushed, we didn't get a lot of time to focus on Black history necessarily. Definitely was not taught in the schools. From what I can remember, I remember completely taking Oklahoma history when I was in high school. It was a requirement that you actually got that class and passed it to be able to graduate. What's funny is the Tulsa Massacre is a part of Black history and a part of Oklahoma history. And amazingly enough, I believe, from what I can remember, if I'm not mistaken, we only had like maybe a paragraph and a half that actually went through what that was. Like, they just said, during that time, 1921, this Black Wall Street, they had all of these businesses and stuff like that. And then they said they used to call it a race riot. Now we know, obviously, it was a massacre. When it was being taught to us, or the little times that we actually got information, it was called a race riot, as if somehow or another, and it was never really explained as to how it began or anything like that in Oklahoma history when I was in school. Now, keep in mind, I graduated in 95, so I don't know if they changed it after that. I have no clue. I'm just telling you what I remember in school. So we had very little, basically, we just really didn't get a lot of Black history at all. So a lot of my friends and associates that I have now are very educated, and it's because a lot of them are not here in Oklahoma. So they have a lot of knowledge about Black history that is just amazing to me. I'm very intrigued by it. But again, it makes me feel inadequate at times, because sometimes I have no clue as to what they're talking about. And a lot of them know my history So they don't make me feel like, why what? You don't know this? Like, they don't make me feel that way because they knew and know how I grew up, and knowing that we were not exposed to Black history that way here in Oklahoma, they don't hold it against me. If I ask the question, they know I'm genuinely asking because I have no clue or don't know. Or if I don't ask the question, I go and research it and try to find it out and, find as much information about the situation that we're talking about or the subject we're talking about as possible. So this year, again, like I said, after therapy, I've been doing obviously a lot of self-reflection and seeing in areas in my life that I'm actually lacking in, things that I can definitely improve on. Obviously, you can always find stuff that you can improve on within and on the outside. Obviously, I feel like I got to get some of this extra handled. So I'm finding a lot of stuff that I need to work on and I need to figure out. But Black history is one of those things that I'm definitely intrigued by and also intimidated. So I feel like it's so much, obviously, that I don't even know where to begin. So I was like, okay, should I really be doing this and sharing stuff on Black history? Because I'm a novice at it, and the information that I can find probably is stuff that people already know. So, don't want to just be inundating people with information during Black History Month. Although, if you follow me in your social verse, you know that I do try to share Black history and information throughout the year, not just during the month of February. But like I said, this year I've had those feelings, so I just decided not to do it because I didn't want to, and I'm trying to think of the best way to explain it. I didn't want to besmirch anybody's legacy or like belittle it either for not sharing all of the information that one subject and one thing is about or whatever the case may be. So I just decided again against it. So y'all can see I'm looking at my notes and stuff in my handy dandy planner as always. So this is why y'all watching me on my channel, because y'all know I'm gonna just be real. So I believe with my parents, some of the stuff I could ask them if they, knew about it, but mostly because it was so many of us, they were obviously concerned with providing for all of us and not necessarily giving history because they were trying to live in the now. So I definitely don't fault my parents, anybody in my family for not giving us information, but I feel like it definitely not having that information readily available at a younger age puts me kind of at a disadvantage now, where I'm trying to figure out, well, what was this about? How did this start? And da 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 da. Because even with the massacre, as I've said before in previous videos, not just on this podcast, but previous videos that I've done, that a lot of people didn't talk about it. And so if you have ever experienced Oklahoma, you are aware that this state is very, I believe we're going in the right direction, but it's very racist. There's a lot of information that is just not shared just because, and so having to navigate those waters and try to figure all of that stuff out, it just it gets exhausting and irritating all at the same time, because you have to go through so many hoops to try to get information. And because it's so much, you get exhausted. Or me. Let me stop talking for everybody else. Just me. That's how I feel sometimes when I'm trying to study Black history, even in Oklahoma, finding stuff out or whatever. And so I was really overwhelmed in trying to learn a lot of the things that I felt like I needed to know. And so I was like, you know what? Again, I'm just not going to do this. I'm going to try to figure out the best course of action for me to be able to learn the information and retain the knowledge before I really start sharing, like during Black history. Obviously, I know some people, would be like, you still could, the information that you have could be shared. Somebody may not know what you know. And so, which is obviously true. but I need to feel confident in myself to be able to share information. So if somebody questions me about it, then I can actually tell them, hey, this is where I found this information. This is why I believe this is true, whatever the case may be, if there's something that comes up about the information that I share. So with these feelings of inadequacy, I started thinking about the term woke and us telling everybody that you need to be woke and all this stuff. You need to figure out everything that's going on. And I was like, what is the minimum history, Black history, that you need to know to be considered woke? Like, is there a minimum for you to be considered woke? Or is that just something that people use to make other people feel like you don't know nothing and I know everything, just because you might have read, a couple of authors that other people may not know about, or you may have had the time to be able to do it. So I thought about it and I was like, because I felt like when I thought about it and I was like, and I kind of looked back over the time frame that I had raising my daughter and everything. And then, like I said, growing up in the household that I did, the way that we were raised and what we needed to do. And then like with me, I wanted to do certain things. So I was trying to work to be able to attain those things, obviously. So I didn't really have a whole bunch of time. And I thought about it, I said, I wonder if this is like a form of systematic oppression. And when I say that, the reason why I bring that up is because Black people definitely don't make as much as white people working the same job. Black women make even less. So Black men could be in the same position as a white man. And I can't remember what the statistics are. I actually had it at some point in time, but it just came to my mind when I thought about this, and I apologize that I wasn't prepared with those stats. But I know that Black men would make, like, say for instance, to 100% towards a white male, a Black man would probably make, I think it's like 65% of that. Black women make around 55% or whatever. So you're talking about almost half of what a white man makes in that instance. A Black woman will be taken home. So she has almost less than half of the paycheck that the white man has, which obviously makes her have to work more because she has to either get overtime or whatever to get the equivalent of what the white male would make in that same position, even with the same experience and all of that stuff. And so if you have to do that, me as a Black woman, then obviously that cuts into my rest time that I have. We have 24 hours in a day. We generally, and we actually, somebody I remember not too long ago seeing a post where people said we don't actually have 24 hours in a day of daylight, because when people say that, they think we have 24 hours of daylight, that we're supposed to be working 24 hours. Your body requires normally minimum 6 hours up towards 10 hours of sleep. So if we have 24 hours in a day cycle and your body requires at least 10 hours, you're down to 14. If you take that 14 and you put in 8 hours for that, that means you have 6 hours left to do whatever you need to do. And that's if you're single, like eat, get all of, whatever housework done, all of that different type of stuff. If you're not making that much, that means that you don't have that extra 6 hours. Honestly, you have to use part of that trying to get something else going so you can actually afford to live. So that may be cut down. If you get a part-time, you're working 4 hours of that. So if you have 4 from 6 right there, you're down to 2 hours. 2 hours a day that you would have to do, any type of studying that you wanted to do to better yourself or anything additional. So like you still, like I said, got to eat, plan for the next day, all of that different type of stuff. So all of that is in consideration of what you may or may not be able to do when you're trying to study that information. And I was like, well, taking all of that in consideration, it can stop you and actually deter you from actually studying about the Black history. So I kind of looked at that and was like, this may have been set up, obviously, for this to happen, and didn't even know that it was something that was there until you really think about it. So that's another thought about not having the information that you want to have and share for Black history. I'm going to be dedicating time out of my week every week to start studying again about different things in Black history that I just am very intrigued about. But if, again, some of y'all that's out there that's woke or whatever, however you want to call it, and you have a lot of knowledge about Black history, shoot me some DMs, some text messages. If you have my phone number, you can keep it in the comments below and let me know some books that you think I should read, some documentaries that you think I should watch. Now, I do a lot of that. I will watch documentaries, and then that will actually spur me to start, studying different things, like the documentary Summer of Soul. So obviously some of you know that I love music. I sing, and haven't done that in a while, but or in a choir, let me say that. I haven't sung in a choir and stuff in a while, but growing up in my family, we all sung, and so that was like my life for quite some time. So anything that I could mix my love of music and learning history about, I'm here for. So the Summer of Soul documentary was so fulfilling for me. But it also brought out like a lot of feelings of, oh my gosh, like I wanted to be there, and it transported me when I watched it. But I was like, it made me think about what was happening at that point in time, in that, era at that time in the nation, what was going on. I mean, just seeing the sea of Black people, different shades, different sizes, like everything just coming together and having like basically one big music festival party or whatever. Everybody, they had food, people was, passing out water and all that. I mean, it was just a great sense of like, oh my gosh, I felt at home. It's a great sense of home for me when I watched that documentary. And so when I watch stuff like that, it really helps me and intrigues me even more to want to know about Black history. So again, if you got books, if you obviously music, I'm into jazz. I love jazz as well. So if you have jazz artists that you want to introduce me to, think they're cool, let me know. I'll add something to my playlist and start listening, let y'all know how I think and what I think about it and all of that. Now, I'm not I don't know even how you would call it. I'm probably not the one that would be able to describe, like do a whole write-up on a CD or something like that, like people do, music writers. That's the word I was looking for. Music writers. I'm not a music writer, but I can definitely tell you how it made me feel and what I think about, jazz and all that different type of stuff. I love smooth jazz as well, so some of the newer stuff. But I'm just really interested in learning more, and wherever you guys think I should start, drop it in the comments, send me a DM, text message, whatever. Let me know where y'all think I should start on my journey to becoming a Black history, not necessarily professional, but a connoisseur of Black history. Because I do dabble in some other stuff that I have a lot of information about that some people know, some people don't, and I may or may not share it on here at times, but we shall see. But today ain't the day. So I want to be a person that has like a lot of knowledge about Black history, and little known facts and stuff like that. I'm here for it. So drop them in the comments and let me know. And let me know also what you guys did for Black history. I did obviously purchase some Black history products, some more Black history products. The lipstick I actually have on is by a Black owned company that I was like, okay, they are being sold, and I had planned on actually trying them prior to, and I just didn't. And so I was like, this is a perfect month to do this, support them. So I'm going ahead and do that. So even if it's one thing like that, I always try to do something during Black History Month to support black-owned businesses. I have friends that are Black men and women who own businesses and stuff like that, and I love, if I can, to support them. Some of them I'm not able to because they have some stuff that I'm just like, dang it, I can't afford that right now. But at some point in time, I'll be able to, patronize them. So we're going to speak that into existence. Yes. So again, even if I don't share everything for Black History, even previous years or whatever, I always during Black History try to support Black businesses. So I do encourage you to do that. But at this point, I will share stuff about Black history that I know, like I said, that I can actually expound upon if somebody has some questions, where I can answer those. But this month, it's been like, okay, I want to get a little bit more knowledge, so let's push pause. So that's what I did. I hope you guys have enjoyed today's show. I have some other real interesting topics that are going to be coming up in the next few weeks that I hope you guys enjoy. I apologize that I have not been able to post the podcast on Fridays. As I stated before, my work schedule has not been accommodating to me recording when I needed to record. Some of you also may or may not know, but I'm going to let you know. I actually live in the house with some other adults, and it's a little bit difficult to get into a space where it's quiet and I can record at all times. So until I'm back in my own location, I'm going to have to work this out. So I am going to attempt to have the videos uploaded every weekend. That's what I'm going to say. Instead of saying it's going to be on Fridays specifically, I'm going to try to do Fridays, but I know every weekend they will be uploaded, just because right now, like I said, the recording situation is an obstacle for me, and it's a challenge, but we're still going to do it. I am committed, like I said, to continuing to do this podcast every week. So unless there's something specific, if I don't get to do one during the week or something like that, I will let you know, hey. And I'm actually going to try to start doing some other stuff to where if I can do it in other locations, then I'll be able to make sure that I'll get those. But if I'm not able to share one week, I will definitely let you guys know. But I appreciate you guys for always listening and supporting me in my endeavor to get information out about what's going on here in my life. Podcaster over 40, and woman that has had a miscarriage and is still surviving that. So I love you guys. Thank you for joining today, and I will see you next week. Deuces. This is to my friend.